I want to take a little bit of time talking about my video game addiction and how giving up video games is probably one of the best things that I've ever done. Video games are my first real addiction. I've been playing video games since I was a kid. Before I got hooked on weed and alcohol and cigarettes, I played video games. And we can all agree that video games are built to be addictive. And when you start playing video games as a kid, you don't realize those things, but you're thrown into something that's built to keep you engaged and built to keep you hooked and built to keep you playing, just like social media and other things that are made to be addictive. And then you grow up with that stuff and you don't realize that that rush and that dopamine that you get from playing a good video game translates into other things, and then you get hooked on other things. People say that weed's a gateway drug, but I would say that video games are also a gateway drug. It's just not categorized as one. I don't want to digress here. I just want to kind of talk about how playing video games for so long, not realizing that I was doing something that was so addictive and then using it to distract me from other things that were happening in my life, just like I did with drugs and alcohol later when I got older, as well as video games. I played video games well up into my late 20s, and I really stopped playing video games about like 6 or 7 years ago when like my kids were born. But video games have wasted a lot of time in my life, and they caused me relationships. I remember girlfriends leaving me because I played too many video games. My wife, when we were dating and living together, we had a lot of problems because of video games. Video games are really sneaky in the sense that you don't realize how much it takes you away from the real world. You don't realize how it makes you not interact with the people around you, how it makes you feel like you're social without being social. I've been gaming since before online games were popular, but I remember that a lot of my friends were people that I played with online that I never met in person, that I've never talked to ever since, that they aren't really friends. They're just people that you play video games with. And I know that some people will argue that and say that, oh, my best friends ever are all people that I met online gaming. And I'll say that, all right, well, that's one of the good things about video gaming. Maybe it helps some people who aren't social in the real world interact with people online, but then it takes us away from that human experience, and it takes us away from going out and trying to meet people. We become more recluse. We become more introverted. And while you think that you're being social playing video games online with other people, a lot of the times not many people are very engaging, and not many people interact as much as they claim they do when they game with other people. And when you're playing Call of Duty, sure, there's some times where you might talk to someone about your personal life, but a lot of the times you're calling out shots and you're calling out where people are, and you're just kind of talking in a video game. You're not connecting with people in a real way. When you're playing World of Warcraft and you're trying to down a boss, you're calling out when somebody needs to heal. You're not talking about your life's problems and connecting with people. Let's be real. It's hard for us gamers to actually call it what it is. I find it that many video gamers cope the hardest. They try to justify this addiction, try to only point out the good things when they really leave out a lot of the realities of what being a gamer does to you. And now that we live in a world where video gamers are idolized, and you have competitive gamers and people that make careers out of this, you have people making this seem like it's not as bad as it is. And as someone who gave up video games and started to see major improvements in his life, started to see major improvements in his physical health, started to see major improvements in his mental health, started to see major improvements in his relationships, also started to see the other addictions for what they were. Because when I would game as an adult, I would drink a lot, I would smoke a lot of weed, I would smoke a lot of cigarettes. Back when I smoked cigarettes, I would smoke like a pack and a half a night when I was playing World of Warcraft and playing other video games, because they went hand in hand. And when I gave up video games, it felt like there were so many other bad addictions that were attached or came from that one addiction that I didn't realize until I stepped away from it. And I started to see how much time I was getting back. When you drink, you can still kind of go and do other things. When you smoke weed, you can still be fairly functional. When you play video games, you're stuck in front of a TV. You don't move. You're deceived by imaginary success. You get an achievement, or you get a trophy, or you get to that next level. You're not really gaining any value. You're not achieving or accomplishing anything that really brings you growth as a human. Like that kid that beat Tetris for the first time, went viral, and then you had the news anchor that was just like, oh, why don't you go do something real with your life. And while this kid had this major accomplishment, 35 years, it's never been done. I kind of see where that reporter was coming from as someone who used to play a lot of games. And I realized that I may sound like a boomer, but there's so much more to life than just trying to beat a game. And all those hours playing Tetris, that amounts to nothing. You beat a video game. Was it a hard thing to do? Great. What did you really accomplish from it? What growth as a human did you get? What skills outside of playing Tetris did you gain? Nothing. Because the truth is that video games really reward you with nothing. At the end of the day, it's a couple of bytes of data in a database. Those achievements and accomplishments that you're so proud of don't mean anything. Like, they really don't. There's nothing tangible. There's nothing real that comes from video games. It's all imaginary success. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that I had with it, was that I remember sitting around and thinking like, oh, you know, I'm doing something. I'm 20th prestige in Call of Duty. I've got 5 level 80s in World of Warcraft. I've gotten a 2000 rating in arenas. I've downed this one boss and I've beat this one thing. And oh yeah, you know, me and my friends, we play online. Me and my imaginary friends online. And I know that I'm going to get so much for this video from gamers, but I don't care because I see it for what it is now. And I was just like you, the person that comes in here saying that, oh, it makes me happy. Oh, it's not a waste of time if it brings you joy. There's a lot of value that you gain from video games. Oh, there's a lot of relationships that you can have because of gaming online. Those people that are going to come in here and try to justify their reasoning behind gaming and try to say how it's not that bad for you. Like, I get it. I've been there. But every single addict says the same thing about every single addiction. Oh, I'm not that bad. There's people that are worse. I don't play as much as this other guy. I didn't sell my butthole on the street to play video games like a crackhead would. But you still wasted your whole life away in front of a TV. The crackhead just wasted their life away on the street. There's not much difference. It's still a waste of time, and it's still a waste of life and potential. And so many of us waste our potential playing video games that don't give us that return of investment that you can get from other things. This has become kind of a rant, and I know that very few people are going to agree with what I'm saying here. I want to say, like, if you play video games a couple hours a week and you don't have a problem, then this video is not for you. I played video games every minute of my free time. When I was at work, I would obsess about the video games that I was playing. I would research them. I would think about them. I would talk about them. It was all I did. And I did that for so long, for so many years. Even as a kid, I was doing that. And it took me so much time wasted and spent gaming to realize how bad it really was for me. And I'm sharing this now because as someone who has pretty much given up video games, even if I play now, I play very little. And when I'm done, I kind of feel guilty about it. And then I end up not playing it for a very, very long time. And I really try to only play if I have real life friends that are playing a video game. And even then, like I said, I feel guilty after I waste too much time on it. I've wasted so much time before, and I know that it can be a slippery slope. And if I'm not careful and if I don't really watch myself, when I do start playing video games occasionally here and there, the next thing you know, I'll be neglecting my wife and my kids and my work, and I wouldn't be doing anything that brought me any value. And it's such a sneaky, sneaky little addiction that many of us don't realize or want to realize how bad it is for us. And many of us convince ourselves that it's not really a problem when it's a major problem. And again, this doesn't apply to everyone. This isn't for the I play a couple hours a week guy. This is more for the I play all the time every day person, and I do nothing else but play video games. Take a step back and really think about like what you've accomplished with your life. One last thing that I want to say before I end this rant about video games is that if you sit around and think like, oh, well, there's nothing else that I enjoy to do. Oh, there's nothing else that brings me any joy. Oh, this is the thing that I love to do. You really, really believe that. You really believe that there is nothing else that can make you happy. There's nothing else that you like to do, and all you want to do is this one thing. If you really think that that's a thing, but you've never tried to go do something else, and you feel like you're starting to slip and time is passing and you're realizing that you're playing games even if you're bored of them, or you start to feel guilty because you play for 8 hours a night and you're not getting any sleep and you feel like shit and you're fat and you're eating junk food, and you're starting to see things for what they are, and you really think that there's nothing else out there that can bring you the same amount of joy, or there isn't anything else out there that could potentially replace video games, try to take a break from it. Like really try to like just give it up. Get rid of your console for a while. Get rid of your PC for a while. It's going to be really, really hard at first. It's going to take you weeks for you to not feel depressed and feel like, oh, you want to play video games. And you're going to feel like there isn't anything else that you like as much as that. Eventually you'll find something, a hobby, a thing you want to learn, or you might even find a person that you want to interact with and engage with that isn't the video game, and you'll start to slowly forget about the games, and you'll start to slowly see other areas of your life improve, and then you'll want to start making strides and improving your life in other areas, and then you'll find that your life and your improvement and things that you try to set out to do, you can approach in a gamified way. And you can apply that same gamer mentality of trying to level up areas of your life the same way that you leveled up in so many video games, but you're actually going to see tangible results. You're going to be able to see the improvements and actually have skills and relationships that are real. And eventually one day you're going to look back and say, damn, I wish I wouldn't have wasted all that time playing video games. Man, if I would have spent that 10 years of my life that all I did was play video games, doing anything else, learning a skill or improving my health or finding a hobby or doing something else that wasn't just sitting away in front of a computer or in front of a TV, playing a video game that just brought me nothing but time wasted, you're going to feel a lot like how I feel right now, and you're going to understand where I'm coming from. And many of you might never do that, but I can guarantee you a lot of your depression, your anxiety, your bad health, your other bad habits probably all come from video games, because I was there and I see it for what it is now. And I feel like I'm preaching and I don't care. I know how much shit people are going to talk in the comments about this, but I wanted to mention it because years later, after I made a video 2 or 3 years ago talking about the same thing, I want to come back and say I still feel the same way. And it's still a huge waste of time. And I hope that if you're someone who's finding this video because you're starting to feel the way I felt at one point in time, and you're starting to realize how bad video games are for you, and you want to make a change, know that once you give them up, it's going to be hard at first, but after a while, you're going to feel so much better that you did, and you're going to be living a much healthier and happier life because of giving up video games. All right, with all that said, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.